The year is 1914, December, somewhere in northern France. A gash in the earth called the Western Front. Rain has turned the world to mud and misery, now locked in by a bitter, relentless cold. Water in shell holes freezes into treacherous ice. The chill seeps through thin uniforms, numbing every bone. The air is heavy with the promise of snow and the stench of decay. Every breath is a fleeting sign of life in a landscape dedicated to death. The trench is home, fortress and grave. Its walls slick with ice, its floor a frozen slab. Silence is broken only by chattering teeth and distant artillery. There is no escape from the cold. It saps strength and dulls the mind. The enemy is not just across no man's land, it's the wind, the sleet, the frost. This is a war fought on two fronts, against the opposing army and against the elements. The quick victory promised in summer has vanished, replaced by a grinding war of attrition. Soldiers are unprepared, learning to survive hour by hour. In this frozen hell, a dry pair of socks is more valuable than a medal. A hot cup of tea feels like a greater victory than capturing a trench. This is the raw truth of survival on the Western Front. Endurance here is not about glory, but about making it through another night. The cold is a constant, unwelcome companion. This was the reality for hundreds of thousands, utterly unprepared for the winter of war. The Western Front was a vast network of trenches stretching over 400 miles from Belgium to Switzerland. Once farmland, now a scarred, weaponized landscape. The flat terrain forced armies to dig in, creating a static defensive war. Flanders and northern France, with their high water tables and heavy clay, became a nightmare. Trenches filled quickly with water, turning to thick, sucking mud. This mud swallowed men, horses and equipment, breeding disease and exhaustion. The winter of 1914-15 was especially harsh. Endless rain, then freezing cold. Trenches became frozen swamps. Soldiers lived, fought and slept in icy ditches. Dampness was everywhere, making warmth and dryness impossible. Hypothermia and trench foot were constant threats. The land itself seemed hostile, offering no comfort or shelter. The sky pressed down, grey and unyielding. Artillery fire obliterated forests and fields, leaving only mud and craters. Soldiers faced a desolate, unforgiving world before a single shot was fired. The environment was as much an enemy as the opposing army. Survival meant enduring the land's relentless assault. The Western Front was a test of resilience long before battle began. This was the landscape of despair. Soldiers marched to war in uniforms meant for summer, not for a frozen quagmire. Wool uniforms, once wet, became heavy and cold, offering little protection. Greatcoats and boots soaked through, leaving men shivering and exposed. No waterproofs, no thermal layers. Armies were unprepared for months outdoors. Soldiers improvised to survive, layering anything they could find. Newspapers, straw, and sandbags became insulation. Feet were wrapped in paper before socks, dugouts lined with sandbags for warmth. Goatskin jerkins, scarves, and gloves from home were prized. Capes fashioned from ground sheets or sacks, legs wrapped in sandbags. Adaptation was crucial. Each man fought a personal battle against the cold. Ingenuity and improvisation became the difference between misery and survival. The army's failure forced soldiers to invent their own solutions. They learned through bitter experience how to endure what no one had imagined. Shelter in the trenches was primitive. Dugouts scraped into muddy walls, barely big enough for two. These holes offered scant protection from wind, rain, and rats. Soldiers scavenged wood, iron, and sandbags to reinforce their shelters. Duckboards and straw helped keep the mud at bay. A dry, wind-shielded dugout felt like a palace. Fire was a rare luxury. Small stoves or makeshift braziers offered warmth and hope. Fuel was scavenged from broken boards or fence posts. But fire brought danger. Smoke revealed positions, flames drew enemy fire, and carbon monoxide threatened in cramped spaces. The quest for warmth was a constant risk versus reward calculation. Comfort and survival were always in delicate balance. Food was fuel for survival in the cold. Rations included bully beef, hardtack, bread, bacon, and tea, if they reached the front. Delivering food was perilous. Many went days on hardtack and cold beef. Biscuits were so hard they had to be soaked or smashed to eat. A hot meal or mug of tea was a lifeline, lifting spirits and restoring strength. Field kitchens sent stew and tea in insulated containers. Arrival was the day's high point. The rum ration offered brief warmth and courage. Water was everywhere, but safe drinking water was scarce. Trenches water was toxic. Clean water arrived in petrol cans, often tasting foul. Purification made it drinkable, but a hot, sweet tea was a rare blessing. Trench foot was a dreaded enemy, caused by cold, wet, unsanitary conditions. Feet didn't need to freeze, just stay wet and cold for too long. Blood flow slowed, tissue died, and infection set in. Early pain gave way to numbness, swelling, and in severe cases, gangrene and amputation. Tens of thousands suffered in the first winter. Trench foot crippled armies. Command responded with strict prevention, whale oil for feet, multiple pairs of socks, and daily changes. Soldiers paired up to check each other's feet, the buddy system. Officers inspected feet. Neglect could mean charges of self-inflicted wounds. Better boots and discipline reduced cases over time. Foot care became a daily ritual as vital as cleaning a rifle. The fight for feet was a fight for survival. Simple hygiene and discipline saved lives and limbs. The lesson was hard won, but crucial. In the trenches, survival started from the ground up. The Western Front was a mental battlefield as much as a physical one. The cold was relentless, grinding down morale and willpower. Boredom and terror alternated, with long hours of waiting in the freezing mud. The mind became a prison. Routine was a lifeline. Daily tasks, stand to, weapon cleaning, sentry duty, imposed order on chaos. Routine kept men focused, helping them hold on to sanity. Camaraderie was the greatest defense. Shared hardship forged unbreakable bonds. Soldiers depended on each other for survival, comfort, and hope. Dark humor, songs, and shared complaints eased the burden. Brotherhood was a powerful antidote to despair. Looking out for each other kept men going through the darkest days. In the end, mental resilience was as vital as any weapon. The first winter of the Great War was a crucible of endurance. Survival depended on small acts of resilience, discipline, and adaptation. Routine and personal standards became lifelines in chaos. Soldiers improvised, newspapers for insulation, sandbags for leggings, tins for stoves. Adaptation and ingenuity were fundamental survival skills. Ordinary people found extraordinary strength in desperate circumstances. Camaraderie and mutual support provided hope and purpose. The story is not one of glory, but of human spirit and stubborn will to survive. Even in darkness, discipline and adaptation lit a path forward. The legacy of those men is a testament to the power of endurance.